after Saturday, tomorrow at 9 on ESPN2.
Where is my magazine?
Hey, Ray, can you believe that they got Marcus Camby to do the commercial with the ESPN the magazine and not me and you?
I don't know, Chris, but no, Marcus was pretty good. But we've been perfect for this part.
I know, especially we both subscribers to ESPN the magazine, and we both got the free fleece jacket.
When you eat, live, and breathe sports, ESPN the magazine is where you want to be.
You know, Chris, we need to work on this paddle yo-yo thing. I think that's what ESPN the magazine wants.
Yeah, you're probably right, Ray.
Call now for ESPN the magazine. Bigger, bolder, with words and pictures that zoom right to the heart of the game.
Okay, we need to rehearse this. Check it. How's this? Where's my magazine?
I like that.
Get 26 issues, a year's worth for just $1 an issue. 66% off the newsstand price. And our gray fleece pullover is free.
That's my magazine, man.
Perfect. Call now. 1-877-ESPN-111.
Friday Night Fights presented by Miller High Life. 8-round lightweight bout. Israel Cardona and 1992 Olympian Julian Wheeler. Julian Wheeler was born in Louisiana, now fighting out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. 30 years of age, 134.5 pounds, 19-6-1 with 8 knockouts coming off an 8-month, 9-day layoff. He's lost his last 2 here on Friday Night Fights. Controversial split decision loss to Juan Lascano. I had Wheeler winning that fight. Then he lost to Jermaine Fields on August the 25th. Unanimous 10-round decision. He only landed 18% of his punches in that fight, according to CompuBox. Israel Cardona is 26 years of age, from Hartford, Connecticut, former USBA and NABF lightweight champion. 34-4 with 26 knockouts. Well, Cardona had it on a roll after wins against Ivan Robinson, Golden Johnson, and Joel Perez. He squared off against Paul Spadafora here on Friday Night Fights, but it was all Spadafora in this 12-round bout for the vacant IBF lightweight championship. 120 to 108, 119 to 108, 119 to 109, as Cardona landed only 20% of his punches in that fight. Now, in his last 3 fights, he has wins against Steve Larimore, Matthew Hill, Mike Rios. He says the key, he is with the man to the right of your screen, Jimbo Esperduli, his original trainer.
We had our inspections in the dressing room.
Cardona had left Esperduli and went with John Cipolla. And Pito said, I was at a low point after losing to Spadafora and Julio Alvarez in back-to-back fights. I was broke. I had no money. And Jimbo took me back with 1 phone call. And he said for the first time in 5 years, he has somebody teaching him. Cardona comes out firing right away. Both of these guys have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, Teddy. They're angry with the promoter, Jimmy Birchfield, about the fact that they were getting ready to go 10 rounds, but because Gary Boletto had to get on in a 6-round fight, their fight has been reduced to 8.
And these are 10-round fighters.
Right, get him up, get him
I think the one who would be the most upset might be Cardona, and that's why you see him starting real fast. He can be a slow starter sometimes. He's the stronger man. He's the man who wants to be inside, wants to go to the body, and he figures that those extra 2 rounds could be invaluable for a guy who wants to press the fight, for a guy who wants to attack the body.
Julian Wheeler's career has never turned out as he had expected it would. After being on the 1992 U.S. Olympic team in Barcelona, Spain, instead of turning professional, he waited a year to finish his naval commitment. He said that was a big mistake. And he's had a lot of close losses in his career. The most important one, he felt, was after beating Jorge Paez in 1996, lost a 12-round split decision. That put him on a path to nowhere. Wheeler says, I haven't taken a lot of punishment in my career, but I don't want to just be an opponent. And Julian's a very nice young man, well-spoken young man, and he says if he doesn't win this fight, and if he loses another close decision or whatever, he says he is going to just hang it up, because he said if there's no light at the end of the tunnel for a big payday and something down the line, why should I just keep going into the ring? And I think he believes it, Teddy. I think he really means it.
I think he does too. I think that you have him pegged just about right. And he's thinking very clearly. Not all athletes can think quite that detached. Right. What you see is what you're going to get. Cardona trying to get inside, the bigger man, the stronger man. the body puncher. Wheeler a little quicker, more of a boxer. He wants space. Cardona would want to be inside. As I said, he's the bigger man. He's been a lightweight and a junior welterweight his whole career. 138 pounds or more 18 times. On the other side of the ledger, Wheeler, the smaller guy, junior lightweight and a lightweight most of his career. He's been 133 pounds or less 18 times.
Dick Flaherty, the referee.
Look for the choice of style from Wheeler to use those quick hands, as I said, at a little bit of a distance to try to catch Cardona coming in like that, and then move to the side, keep Cardona off balance, not stay there too long. Cardona a little wider, a little slower, and he needs his legs to be set to punch.
All right. There's the bell to end round number 1. Cardona and Julian Wheeler. Well, as Brian and Max were talking about earlier, the Pernell Whitaker situation. We saw him here on Friday Night Fights last week, and it appears that his career is over. Dino Duva joins us from Duva Boxing. And Dino, obviously, you had the scare on Sunday with Pernell and him having to go to the hospital. What's Duva Boxing's role as far as Pernell's future?
Well, as far as we're concerned, Pernell will always be part of our organization, part of our family. You know, our relationship with Pernell goes a lot further than promoter, boxer. He's a part of us. He's always going to be working with us. I think what Pernell wants to do now is, I think he's had enough of fighting. And I think what he wants to do is work with young kids, try to rub off some of his technical knowledge in the sport and help young kids in the sport.
Now, Dino, you guys, when you were main events and now Duva Boxing, you've always looked out for your fighters' well-being. You walked away from Eldrick Taylor when you felt it was time. When you've had fighters who you felt are done, you've said, we really don't want to be a part of it. And your brother Dan was also very outspoken about that. What if Pernell decides he wants to fight again?
I honestly don't think that's going to happen. When Pernell says he's hanging him up, I think he really means it. He's not the kind of guy that's going to get the itch again. I think he wants to stay in the sport, stay with us in the business. But once he says he's hanging him up, I think that's it for good. I don't think you'll see Pernell getting the itch later on down the road.
All right, Dino, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Dino Duva. Rough 2 weeks for Duva Boxing, Teddy, with Dante Craig getting upset in Cincinnati, and then Pernell Whitaker last week in his comeback. And it's got to be an emotional situation for them. They've been with Pernell since 1984.
No doubt about that. As he said it best, Dino. He's like part of the family.
See the numbers in round 1. Wheeler busier, as you would expect, and a better connect percentage against Cardona.
Right. Let him out. Let him out.
Teddy, what do you want to see from Cardona? Obviously, his last 3 fights have been keep busy type. But where does he need to improve in order to get back to that world class, at least be a guy who's viable to challenge for a world title?
The first thing he needs to do, and I'm not being facetious, he needs to win this fight. And to do that, he needs to use the jab. Did he get inside for his power shots? It's obvious he's looking to land those big shots to the body of Wheeler, but it's obvious to Wheeler too.
Get him up, get him up.
Cardona needs to use that left jab, not just depend on the big power shots. Wheeler's not going to give him too many of those opportunities.
Teddy, in the first round, Cardona was 0 for 3 with his jab. Cardona wants a chance to get back at Paul Spadafora, who totally dominated him. Cardona knocked out Joel Perez, who will be fighting Spadafora on the new Tuesday night series on May the 8th from Pittsburgh, here on ESPN2.
This is where Cardona wants to be, on the inside, going to the body. He's a little square when he comes in. Just take a peek at the legs right now from Cardona. Look how square he is. Look at that service he gives, hitting the service he gives to his opponent right there, Wheeler. When you come in that square, you give a lot of target to get caught. Just look at it. It's right there for you. Cardona's legs are too squared up as he comes in. And he's a little bit off balance because of that, falling forward, which really lends himself to Wheeler, where Wheeler can move him into punches.
Wheeler's plan is to just box, box, box. combination.
Now, Cornerstone Promotions brings back the spirit of the 60s with the greatest songs of an unforgettable era.
There's a sense of compliments, meaningless nouns. Turn on, tune in, turn your eyes around.
Give me a head with hair, long, beautiful hair. To everything, turn, turn, turn. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
In the white room with black curtains.
Sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Blocking out the scenery, breaking my mind.
You and I travel to the beat of a different drum.
Come on, people now. Smile.
Spirit of the 60s on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. Call this toll-free number for Spirit of the 60s. Cassettes $19.98, CDs $26.98 plus $5.50 shipping. Have your credit card ready and call now.
A tongue lashing for Pito Cardona in between rounds 2 and 3 by his trainer Jimbo Esperdula. Cardona in the red, Wheeler in the black. He said, hey, you've got to work. This is not a 10-round fight. This is an 8-round fight. Get going.
And as we talked about right at the top, I thought that the shortening of the fight could hurt Cardona more than Wheeler because of the styles of the fighters. Cardona, a little bit of a slow starter. Those 2 rounds could be invaluable for Cardona.
So far in the fight, according to CompuBox, through the first 2 rounds and almost 1 minute, Cardona 0 for 13 with his jab.
And you talked about, you asked me the last round, what does he need? What does Cardona need to do to get himself back into world contention, world level fighting form? Well, with that elite group, you need to use the jab. You're not going to get away just with power shots. You need the jab to set up those power shots with that level of fighter.
Nice counter right hand. You know, Wheeler told us yesterday when we spoke with him that he has to be dominant for this fight. He said, I realize that I'm in New England and this is Cardona territory. I've been there before with Lascano and Sacramento and so on and so forth. But I can't make this thing close because he fully expects that if it's close, he will not get a decision.
The better puncher in this fight, no doubt about it, Cardona. But the faster man, the man who puts them together in bunches, really. And that's why with 8 rounds hurts Cardona. You want extra rounds when you're the power guy. More chances to unload that power.
Well, for every 1 punch that Cardona's landing, Wheeler's putting together 4 and 5.
Wheeler, an experienced guy, both amateur and pro. And the pros fought 2 former world champs. Amateurs, he was an alternate on the '92 Olympic team, had about 122 amateur fights. Watch how square, again, the legs. Look at that, Bob. How square those legs are, Cardona's. Giving a lot of surface to attack for Wheeler. And that time, Cardona's legs were right. Now he's turned southpaw. His legs are too square, he gives too much surface, and he's off balance. He doesn't have that back leg back to center himself and to get full power. Again, too square.
A 1 to 2 to 4 mix of concrete increases in bulk 26%. 1 to 2 to 5 increases 18%. 1 to 3 to 5 increases. This is getting pretty heavy. Better lighten things up a bit. There you go, Professor. Now you're cooking. Sometimes the light way is the right way to live the high life.
Let's see the perfect notebook through your eyes. A big vivid screen, a fast Intel Pentium 3 processor, one-touch internet access. How about the power to turn heads? Oh, you'd like a deal. Okay, get the compact Presario 1700T Internet Notebook PC for just $14.98. Order today and add a quick dock port replicator for just $49 more. You truly are a person with vision. Call us direct at 1-800-338-0135 now.
For you builders out there, foundation is very important to have a strong house. Well, the legs are the foundation of a fighter. And look at how square Cardona will get at times with his legs. He will come in, he will square up a little too much. Right there, you can see it. And he's giving a lot of surface to attack. He's getting too square, and he can be off balance.
It's one thing to square up on a jump shot. It's another thing to square up in the ring.
Yes, sir. Nobody throwing punches at you. Well, nowadays in the NBA, sometimes there is people throwing punches at you when you shoot a jump shot, or at least after you shoot it. Most of the NBA players do it when you turn away and you're walking back to the bench, though.
Well, Cardona trying to use some power to bore his way in. Really not as crisp with his jabs in the last 2 rounds. Let's go to Jimbo Esperduli in the corner of Pito Cardona. Jimbo, Bob Papa, Teddy Atlas.
Hi, guys.
We know Pito traditionally tends to be a slow starter. Do you want that punch output to get up there a little bit?
Well, this is the reason, you know, we wanted the 10-rounder. As you guys know, this was a 10-round fight. Last round, he really started warming up and getting to the guy. This is why we didn't want this 8-rounder. This is our problem. So he's going to get stronger as the fight goes on. But, you know, we just, you know, he's not an 8-round fighter. And this is the problem we're in. So I got to build him up and, you know, perk him up, and he's got to start working just like he's right now. Work!
Jimbo, this is Teddy here. Jimbo, do you, along the line of that thinking, being upset about it not being 10 rounds, only 8 rounds,
right?
Your guy, one of his strengths is that body attack.
Right.
And is he throwing that out the window a little bit because he's lost 2 rounds?
He is, but we, you know, that was our plan, go to the body. But, you know, like I told you, he's a slow starter. This is why it was very important for this fight to be 10 rounds. We got a slow start. Now we got to catch up. That's all there is to it.
Would you like Cardona to use his jab to close the gap a little bit more?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know,
that's a key. To me, that's a key.
He came off of an injury on the left hand, and, you know, he's been favoring that hand a little bit, and that's why. Otherwise, he's been using his jab a lot more than what you're seeing here.
Is that why he's turning southpaw sometimes, Jimbo, because his left hand's hurting?
Exactly.
All right, Jimbo, thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, well, Cardona, through the first 3 rounds, 1 for 18 with his jab. And that one jab that he connected, according to Joe Carnicelli, was when he turned southpaw. A good pickup by Teddy.
Right now, Wheeler is navigating Cardona around the ring with his legs. Cardona can be susceptible to that because he's so square-legged that he has trouble adjusting to movement.
But I have an important question I'll ask you when we get it back. But first, here's Brian and Max.
Bob, thank you very much. Hey, Fernando Vargas is going to be with us in a few moments, and he's joining us right now, getting ready tomorrow night against Wilfredo Rivera. Fernando, how are you feeling? How is training camp coming off your first loss?
I'm doing great. I feel strong. I look forward to stepping into the ring and being successful tomorrow night.
Hey, Fernando, Rivera's never gone out like a punk against anyone. You ready to go to war tomorrow night?
Well, you know, it's going to be an intelligent war. You're going to see, you know, the fighter that you guys seen against Yori Boy Campas, Raul Marquez, Icorte, you know, those type of fights when I pick my shots and be intelligent. And, you know, if I hurt him, you know, I definitely finish him.
Hey, the fans want to see Fernando back. He's back tomorrow night in El Paso. Fernando, stay right there. Got to get back to the fight, but we're going to be talking live with Fernando Vargas in just a few moments. Right now, go back ringside to Bob and Teddy. Bob?
All right, thanks, Brian. My pick coming out of '96 to be the best from that Olympic team, Fernando Vargas. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather has had a great start to his career, but ferocious, I'm sure, will be back with a ferocious display tomorrow night. Teddy, jabs through 4. Cardona has landed 1 of 24 in this fight. Now, here's the question I wanted to ask you that I sort of teased before we heard a little bit from Fernando. You mentioned Wheeler's navigating the distance. He's outlanded Cardona. He's thrown more punches, doing what he does, slick boxing. But he does that all the time in the other guy's hometown, and this is Cardona territory. He's really doing enough to win the fight based on those circumstances. Forget about our scorecards, because you and I have him so far in a shutout.
That's a good question. And unfortunately, sometimes that's the only question that matters in this sport, which, you know, is supposed to be about what you do inside that squared circle, not what the guys do outside it. Hey, it's a legitimate question. Cardona, he's a New England fighter, New England area fighter. 30 out of his 38 fights have been in the New England area. So, because it's not an explosive style, Wheeler could suffer from certain spots where maybe if Cardona could get in close, could steal rounds. But right now, the way Wheeler's going, moving those hands at a distance, I think he's separating himself pretty well.
Teddy's scorecard, shutout. Oh, you had the 1 round even the first round. So far in this fight, Wheeler is averaging about 27 connects a round, and Cardona is averaging about 9 connects per round. And it's not like there's been one lopsided round in there for Wheeler. We're talking about each round has been about the same.
Look at those legs of Cardona. Look how square he is. He's too squared up coming in. Look, he's just a sitting duck coming in square like that. Gives himself too much surface. Needs to get a little leaner.
Does land a left hand that hurt Wheeler.
He is a good puncher, Cardona. Does have that great eraser in those gloves. Can turn bad rounds into good rounds with that power. But he needs cooperation from Wheeler, which he's getting right here, Bob. Wheeler's standing in front of him, fighting the wrong place.
Wheeler has been stopped once in his career, back in '95. Juan Marquez stopped him in the 10th round. And Wheeler's almost leaning in toward that left hand.
He's leaning mostly on his right side, Wheeler. And Cardona's making a nice adjustment. He's stepping over to the left a little bit, which is the right side of Wheeler, and just adjusting where he can throw that left hook. Just adjust the punch to the outside more. See, with this distance, it's Wheeler, because he has the faster hands. Cardona being a little slow, being a little square. Wheeler has an opportunity to pick him apart coming in.
This will be a tough round to score.
Let me get this commercial thing straight. We don't have to explain any of this stuff?
Nope. Simply tell everyone that Radio Shack has cool name brands.
No explaining how to install a satellite system?
Nope. Just explain that we have experts to answer questions.
Installers, too.
No memorizing every product? Right. It's the place where you can keep up with what's going on.
Hey, this gig isn't rocket science.
You're right. Anyone can do this.
What? You're in trouble.
Radio Shack.
A little bit of a back. Oh, look at that.
Anna,
Do you like it?
is it comfortable? Right? Yes.
Maple Leafs, Devils, tomorrow at 7 on ESPN.
Fans wearing a Pito Cardona t-shirt here at the Mohegan Sun. Pito from Hartford, Connecticut. And we are underway with round number 6. Cardona got to Wheeler in round 5 with some of his power shots. Round number 5 was the first round in the fight where both boxers threw the same amount of punches. They each threw 68 punches. The most punches thrown by Cardona in any round in this fight.
There's 2 big windows of opportunity for Cardona. One is when Wheeler cooperates by standing in front, laying inside too long. Cardona can go to the body. He's close. He can do some damage. The other opportunity is when Wheeler pulls out, Bob. He'll go straight out like that. Cardona just missed there. Cardona could look to catch Wheeler as he's stepping out. Look to tag him by stepping in with a left hook
Behind the head.
or a long right hand.
It would seem to me that, and maybe this is the crux of Julian Wheeler's career, as he rips off a right hand, and the problem with his career is that he falls into these lapses. I mean, if he would just box consistently, he could win this fight easily, but he's allowing Cardona spots.
He doesn't always know his strengths and his weaknesses. His strengths is his speed. He's a real gutsy guy. Puts punches together well. Boxes real well. That means you should always try to stay at a distance, especially with a slower, stronger man like Cardona. He forgets that sometimes. He's so game that sometimes he'll stay inside and do what he shouldn't do.
And it's not that Cardona has done a lot to close the distance either. It's just when Wheeler allows him to have that distance. Because the jab has been non-existent for Cardona to get himself inside.
Watch those square feet. Look at the feet, how wide they are. Look how square Cardona is. Look, he's going to lose his balance being square like that. You need 1 foot back to anchor you. Also, Cardona's a big bang. He takes his power away when his feet are square like that. And he can't get off when his feet are square like that. Too much surface, once again, allows Wheeler to do what he just did. Pepper and move. Just look at those legs once again. Pito Cardona, too square, too wide right now. When you're square like that coming in, and you're boxing a guy who has pretty good hand speed like Wheeler, puts them together, has good vision, he's going to really tattoo you coming in. Again, Cardona does okay when Wheeler cooperates and lays inside.
Wheeler with a combination to end round 6.
All right. Well, I just sent some cash to my kid brother in Dallas.
Yeah, for his new pizza place.
You'll get it before you can say
pepperoni.
When loved ones need to send or receive cash, location really is everything.
My mom's throwing a party in Philly for my dad's 75th, so I just sent some money to help out. I can't get there, but I know the cash will.
Only Western Union has over 90,000 agent locations worldwide, so chances are there's one near you.
I just picked up cash for an air conditioner, and getting here was no sweat.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
It all starts downstairs. Downstairs with a fighter, the feet. Look how square the feet of Cardona are. Look how he falls in sometimes. It's very difficult when your feet are that square to be able to get the full leverage on your punches.
Round number 7 underway. Julian Wheeler, Pito Cardona. Crossroads fight for both men's careers if they hope to get back in any type of lightweight picture. Nice counter by Wheeler. You take a look at the punch numbers in round number 6. Again, Wheeler busier, although Cardona has closed the gap in each of the last 2 rounds so far in the fight. Cardona has landed 3 of 35 jabs through 6 rounds. Wheeler 40 of 175. And when Wheeler keeps the fight right here, Teddy, just sticking, moving, throwing his combinations, Cardona is almost helpless.
Makes it easy.
Using his jab, right?
That's one of the reasons when there's no jab coming at Wheeler, he has nothing to deter him from doing what he's doing right now. Another Cardona, in other words, Cardona's telling him, hey, you don't have anything to worry about until I get close. So that encourages Wheeler to get his hands on him.
You see the look on Cardona's face. He looked disgusted that Wheeler didn't want to stand there and trade. Well, that's not Wheeler's game, and it's incumbent upon Cardona to change the style.
That's not Wheeler's job, to please Cardona. As we were talking about earlier, it's up to a man in the ring or anywhere to know his strengths and know his limitations.
As you mentioned, one of the ways Cardona can get Wheeler is when Wheeler goes straight back. He went straight back and caught a right hand.
I think you're going to see Cardona, especially if he falls behind in this fight a little bit more. I think he's behind. Look for him to try to catch Wheeler stepping away more and more. That will mean 2 things. That will mean that Cardona's a little desperate, a little bit behind in the scorecards. And he's not doing what he should do, which is using his jab to get in close and working the body in a steady way. So he's going to have to look to pull it out of the fire.
Oh, when Wheeler's on his toes like that, he makes Cardona look utterly helpless.
Look how square the feet are. Just look at the squareness of the feet of Cardona in those spots. Again, look how square those legs are. And he falls in with those legs being square. Nothing to keep him balanced. Cardona, that is.
But the question begs to be asked. Even though we feel Wheeler has outboxed Cardona, been busier, slicker, more accurate like that with a combination.
Wheeler's got the recipe. Punch and move.
But he's been on the short end of so many road losses.
Watch closely. This amazing titanium tip drill bit is actually moving sideways to do what no other drill bit could ever do. It's yours when you put the power of titanium in your hands with Titan Master XL. The amazing new titanium tip drill bits that are so strong they'll never wear out. Guaranteed. Your Titan Master XL drill set comes with 17 titanium tip drill bits of all sizes that are strong enough to cut through virtually any surface. You'll also receive the amazing Titan Master XL drill saw that turns any drill into a multifunction saw. And you can turn your drill into a screwdriver with this Titan Master XL converter, which includes 6 flat and Phillips head screwdriver bits. Call in the next 10 minutes, and we'll include this set of 300 screws and fasteners and heavy-duty carrying case. That's 325 pieces in all for only $19.95. Order now.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-344-8300 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling to Titan Master, P.O. Box 121, Plainville, Connecticut 06062.
Eighth and final round was supposed to be a 10-rounder, reduced to an 8. Crossroads fight for Julian Wheeler, the 1992 Olympian. Pito Cardona, former USBA and NABF lightweight champion. And Teddy, some interesting talk in the corner of Cardona in between rounds 7 and 8.
No doubt about it. His trainer, Jimbo Espeleta, told Cardona in no uncertain terms, you need a knockout to win this fight. Go get it. You're behind. Last round.
Well, the numbers in round number 7, dominant for Wheeler. He landed 28 of 80 punches in the round, to Cardona's 7 of 61. Wheeler has been the more consistent of the two. He's been more accurate. He's been sharper. And Cardona has been unable to find any way to penetrate the defense of Wheeler. The only time he has been able to do anything is when Wheeler has allowed him.
Now Wheeler, being that he knows there's only 3 minutes left, now 1 minute and 58 seconds left to do it, he's not giving too many windows of opportunity for Cardona. He's punching and moving, knowing he only has to do it for 1 round.
70-64, our Teddy scorecard. I have it 69-63 for Wheeler. Wheeler has been on the short end of some controversial scores in his career. Juan Lascano here on Friday Night Fights. Jorge Paez back in '97. Roberto Garcia back in 1995. But let's see if Wheeler closes this round out in this last 90 seconds to try to leave no doubts.
The only way I believe that Cardona could get this fight in his pocket is by knockout, and that knockout can only come if he catches Wheeler stepping away. Those are the only opportunities I can see for Cardona to land a punch right now.
Cardona blocked some of that. But Teddy, there's something, a point you've made in the past. It seems that right hand from Cardona really disconnects between offense and defense.
Yes, he does. He doesn't let them flow.
Combination from Wheeler.
He's either doing one or doing the other. And right now, Wheeler's taking advantage of that disconnection. Again, we talked about it right at the top. A big part of Cardona's game is the body punching. And maybe in his mind, that was taken away when the fight was lessened from 10 rounds to 8 rounds. He didn't pay attention to that body. And that's one of the reasons why Wheeler, here in the 8th round, is so fresh with his legs. He didn't have to deal with any body damage.
And Wheeler just continues to put his hands together.
He's doing it right. He's punching and then moving before the slow, cement-legged Cardona can return.
Well, the question begs to be answered. Will Julian Wheeler suffer another controversial road loss? Has he done enough to win in Pito Cardona's backyard? Cardona spotty in his performance. The judges' cards after this timeout.
legendary boxing manager and world-famous producer of enormously successful boxing and sports films. Twice nominated for the Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature. Here's Bill Caton, creator of Primetime Boxing.
I knew Don Dumphy, the most knowledgeable and dynamic boxing commentator of all time. Primetime Boxing features his electrifying live radio broadcasts of the all-time greatest fights. Relive the excitement of the most thrilling moments in boxing. Brought to life by Don Dumphy and the greatest sportscasters in the history of broadcasting. Each Primetime Boxing CD is a collector's item that gives you enormous listening pleasure in your car and at home for the rest of your life.
Call 1-800-525-4445 to order your choice of CD for only $9.95 each plus shipping. Or order all 13 for only $99.95.
I know you're out there searching for your home away from home. Relax. By the day or extended stay, you're always welcome at all of my Villager locations.
Wherever life takes you, the mayor and I want you to feel right at home.
At Villager, comfort and value are just a phone call away.
Call
1-800-328-STAY!
Friday Night Fights on ESPN2 is presented by Miller High Life. The Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. Bob Papa, Teddy Atlas, Julian Wheeler, Israel Cardona finished with their 8-round bout. Final punch numbers in the bout. Wheeler dominated in the stats. Cardona landed 4 of 43 jabs. Wheeler landed 54 jabs, 138 power shots. Teddy Atlas's scorecard. Teddy had it 80-73 for Wheeler. I had it 79-72 for the former Olympian. Here's Mark Biro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Dr. Clark San Martino scores it 77-75. Judge Glenn Feldman sees it 78-74. And Judge George DeGabriel scores it 79-73, all to the winner by unanimous decision, Julian Wheeler.
Got to credit the judges there, Teddy. No home cooking. Wheeler deserved it, fought a very good fight, and he got a fair decision.
Hear that clap in there, even in the New England area with the local fighter losing? Some of those claps are coming from me. Good job, judges.
Thomas Tate, Fernando Zuniga coming up.
Just spit it right in there. Don't worry about it. Drop your hands. Be sharp. Change your angle. Give him that, hey, come on. And snap your punch.
So you saw the